Alright, picture this. 1 minute you're at the Mortal Kombat tournament. The next minute, boom! A Space Marine drop pod crashes into the arena. Sonya's special ops team is screaming, Cassie Cage is live streaming the chaos, and somewhere Johnny Cage is yelling, screaming like a little girl, and then getting shredded by a Tyranid. Welcome to Warhammer 40K, baby. The universe where the only thing that lasts longer than a war is the paperwork. Today, we're dropping every major Mortal Kombat fighter into the grimdark far future to see who thrives, who survives, and who dies faster than a Terminator in a blender. We're talking tiers, from dead, instant barbecue, to survives, struggles along, to thrives, makes warp sorcery look like child's play, to dominates, literal gods or demons, and even hates it, survives, but wants to go home. Buckle up your chains words and charge your bottle rockets, because it's combat time across time and space. First up, Mocap and Meat. This one's as easy as it gets, dead. Mocap and Meat are Mortal Kombat's ultimate joke characters. Mocap is literally motion capture guy, the MK universe's parody of Hollywood stunt work, with a couple of energy tricks, and Meat is just a walking bag of gore created for body-snatching pranks. Mocap's powers basically consist of white laser flashes and telekinesis of hilariously low caliber, while Meat is a headless wailing carcass that can mimic fighters' moves and shrug off pain. In the 41st millennium, neither stands a chance. The Imperium of man wouldn't even flash a bolter before vaporizing them. To the Space Marines, Mocap is no different than an unarmed civilian, and Meat is like the daily ration of pulp feeding for a Chaos spawn. A Chaos spawn is basically what happens to failed Chaos champions. Mindless, mutant creature who once belonged to an intelligent race become twisted and insane abominations. In short, Mocap and Meat would either be purged on sight or left as corpse mush for the Tyranids. It's not a fight, it's a massacre. These two exist for a dark joke in MK. In Warhammer 40K, they're literally non-entities. Next up, Ermac, which I'm putting in thrives. Ermac is a mystical amalgam of thousands of souls bound into one body, with potent telekinetic and magical abilities. He's literally error macro, but don't let the nerdy name fool you. He's one of the franchise's most powerful sorcerers. The lore tells us Ermac is an amalgam of many souls and can telekinetically crush opponents with green energy. In Warhammer terms, Ermac would immediately register as a Psyker, a soul-powered sorcerer. With thousands of souls worth of warp power on tap, he'd probably be classified as an Alpha Plus Psyker, on par with the Emperor of Mankind, who is the only known one at that level. That makes him incredibly valuable, or dangerous, to the Imperium. Ermac's ethereal soul stuff would attract the Inquisition's Inquisitors in droves. They'd likely try to secure his collection of souls, either to imprison it on the Golden Throne or use him in experiments. No one survives long being a guinea pig in the 40,000 universe. The ChaosGods, especially Tzeentch, the architect of fate, would also be sniffing around Ermac as a potential soul conduit. He could be worshipped as a new warp entity or become a pawn in some demonic scheme. But however he's treated, one thing's clear. Ermac's massive telekinetic and sorcerous power means he can hold his own. He could levitate tanks, tear through tanks with a wave of his hand, or rip apart unsuspecting Inquisitors mid-interrogation. In short, Ermac would thrive in 40K as either a prized Psyker of the Imperium or a powerful Chaos tool. Throw in his martial skills and healing factor, and he's way above the average human fighters. He's the kind of guy the far future Inquisition would argue over for centuries. Onaga is on the list next. Inputting them in Dominates tier. Onaga isn't just any Mortal Kombat boss, he's the Dragon King, the long-dead tyrant of Outworld who actually conquered it before Shao Kahn. In lore, he's described as nearly unstoppable. He appears to be one of the strongest beings in the entire Mortal Kombat series. His powers include unimaginable strength, immunity to magic, breathing fire, and, most importantly, the power to raise the dead. Literally, his bodyguard and armies mummified themselves to await his resurrection. With the Dragon King on the loose, Skeletor-level ghost armies march at his command. Drop a Naga in Warhammer and he's an immediate endgame threat. He could become a minor Xenos god or a Chaos-aligned War Master. His necromantic army raising is straight out of Tzeentch or Nurgle playbooks. think Death God spawn, but led by an actual Tyrannosaurus Rex who eats souls. In combat, Onaga is tank level. Canon says even a combined assault from the sorcerers Shang Tsung, Quan Chi and Raiden barely pushed him back. Imagine that translating to Warhammer. He could punch through Terminator armor or shrug off bioplasma blasts as trivial. Onaga's crown, Kamidogu, made him nearly unstoppable in MK lore, and in 40,000 he'd effectively be a living demon prince. Khorne and Tzeentch would both love or fear him. In short, Onaga doesn't just survive, he dominates. He's a dragon god king in space. Johnny Cage. Yeah, he hates it. Johnny Cage is Mortal Kombat's green energy charged action star parody. He's got a kind of star power glow that lets him do flashy moves, but fundamentally, he's just a tough martial artist with some pyrokinetic movie magic. In the 40K universe, his flashy Hollywood style tech would look primitive. Sure, Johnny possesses that ancient, medieval karate energy that powered his green shadow moves, but the Imperium's tech priests would laugh at his stunt level powers. At best, he might call down a lightning bolt, but at worst, it's a power suit moving robot. Johnny's brash confidence would quickly turn to PTSD once he learned about Orc Wars and Dark Eldar torture spas. In short, he'd survive with those magic movie muscles, but he would hate it. The constant terror and paperwork would crush his cocky spirit. He might try to keep his fame going by throwing around some flashy combat, but 40,000 grunts don't cheer or toss roses. After a week on an agri-world under constant bombardment, and with the God Emperor demanding tides of Promethium, even Johnny Cage's grin would vanish. He'd eventually become that beaten private who mutters, "I'm just here for the paycheck," as a commissar blames him for everything. Quick pit stop. If you are enjoying this video, it would really mean a lot if you leave a like and subscribed. I'm trying to make it to 100 subscribers and every single one counts. Thanks, and back to the video. Next up, Baraka, who I'm putting in survives. Baraka is a ferocious Tarkatan mutant warlord, the general of Outworld's savage blade tribes under Melina. He's covered in retractable arm blades and other horrors. Baraka's a born leader of mutants, so in the Imperium's Hiveworld slums he could find a niche. Think of him as an anti-human mutant gang leader. The Imperium does have whole planets where mutants, and mutants who are just humans turned into monsters, crawl out from dank underhives. In Warhammer 40K, Baraka might thrive leading a mutant uprising or mercenary band on a chaos-polluted world. For example, an orc warboss with a sense of aesthetics might employ Baraka as a shock trooper champ, since orcs love big scars and blades. Or a death cult might worship him as holy madness. The key is, Baraka isn't short on durability. He regrows blades and is basically built for survival in brutal combat. He's cannibalistic, single-minded, and loyal to his own people, which might translate to leading the Genestealers or mutant cultists of a hive city. He'd be tossed into any frontline engagement without ceremony, but he wouldn't die right away. He'd probably last as a squat commander, mutant boss, or chaos spawn champion for a while. In the end, he survives, with plenty of scars to tell the tale, but he doesn't exactly thrive on paperwork or warp storms. Kronika and Geras, who I'm putting in Dominate's tier. Kronika and Geras are Mortal Kombat's final boss power couple of time. Kronika is a titaness and the keeper of time, mother of elder gods. Geras is her immortal bodyguard and time sand golem, an indestructible construct of time with reality warping abilities. Kronika literally rewrites history on a whim. In 40K, time manipulation is heresy of heresies. The Ordo Chronos, the Inquisition's secret time police, hunts anyone who even thinks about time travel. If Kronika set foot in the 40K universe, the Inquisition's finest would be after her instantly. But no one catches her. She's a multiversal architect. In Warhammer terms, Kronika would be like a chaos god of time, not canon, but she basically is one in Mortal Kombat. She could easily trigger a galactic Black Crusade to reset the timeline. The Imperium would tremble and scribble billions of penance scrolls. Geras, on the other hand, is literally unkillable. The lore says he will outlast even the heat death of the galaxy. He's Kronika's platinum bodyguard. He's essentially immortal. You can't kill Geras by conventional means. In the warp, he'd be an unkillable demon or demon forge. Necrons might even respectfully observe this anomaly. The Imperium might try to imprison him, but he'd just bide his time, and he's patient as eternity. Put together, Kronika and Geras are a two-person reality warping event horizon. They dominate everything. Kronika might casually wish away whole sectors, and maybe Ordo Kronos would have to deal with the headache, while Geras stands at her side, invincible. Their combined reset timeline agenda would make Inquisitor Sebastian Yarrick look like a kindergarten teacher. Bottom line, Kronika and Geras come to 40,000 like gods. They don't just challenge it, they rewrite it. Next up, Scorpion, and he's going and thrives. Hanzo Hasashi, the original Scorpion, is a hellspawn ninja spectre of vengeance. He's undead, wreathed in ghostfire, armed with a death scythe kunai and teleport flips. In Warhammer 40K terms, Scorpion basically is a chaos ghost. He could fit in two ways, either as a spooky assassin for Khorne, the blood god loves vengeance demons, or as a warrior hero of the Emperor beyond the grave, similar to the Legion of the Damned, spectral space marines who appear to fight demons. His style screams warp spectre. If he hitched a ride with Khorne, he'd be a demon assassin who appears in carnage and just rips out souls like a mini Baron of Khorne. If he sided with the Imperium, maybe as a blessed living saint of vengeance, he'd show up out of Warpstorm when a target is due for execution. He lives for blood. In the MK lore, he literally betrayed and died for honor, then was resurrected for revenge. In 40,000, that's exactly the stuff of fanatic warp spirits. He would thrive. He's fast, deadly, and fueled by wrath. The Inquisition or the Blood Angels would totally want him on their side, so yes, Scorpion will find purpose in 40k. He's one of the few who may even be satisfied with the endless rage fest. Striker is next, and he is so dead. Officer Curtis Stryker is a SWAT turned mercenary with guns and grenades. In Mortal Kombat, he's the ordinary cop out of time who somehow fought shifters, but in Warhammer 40k, he's just another guardsman. The description, leader of the Special Riot Control Division in the NYPD, who employs modern weaponry such as explosives, firearms, tasers. This is exactly your basic Imperial Guardsman toolkit, except maybe guardsmen have more guns. There's always more guns, and more rules. Stryker might have learned a mean baton throw and a stun gun, but against a single Orc boy or Necron warrior, he's basically fish in a bolt gun barrel. The Imperium would draft him for a ceremonial death. He's useful only as cannon fodder. Warhammer battlefields eat guys like Stryker for breakfast. He'd probably die in the first trench, swarmed by Gretchen or gunned down by Necron Gauss. In short, the gritty soldier bravado doesn't translate. He's just one more voice screaming orders before the plasma blasts hit. Dead is the only outcome. Shao Kahn is dominates tier all over. The Emperor of Outworld, Shao Kahn is a towering warlord and soul devourer. He devours souls to increase his power, has planet-crushing strength, and conquers whole dimensions. MK lore says he has godlike strength and has absorbed countless souls. One line notes he can consume and manipulate souls at a much more efficient rate than Shang Tsung. He even ascends to true deityhood by the end of some games. In Warhammer, Shao Kahn would be an ultimate Chaos Lord. Combine Khorne, war, murder, and Tzeentch, sorcery, fate, into one sadistic war boss who literally merges dimensions. Oh yes, he's exactly the sort of overlord who leads massive black crusades. He'd essentially become a demon prince of Khorne / Tzeentch. He'd probably single-handedly wage a crusade to annex human worlds using soul-devouring sorcery. The Chaos Gods would fight over who gets to worship him. He'd carve out a Star Fortress pocket warp dimension where human planets get dragged in and harvested for raw meat. Literally an Imperium eater. So, dominates is the only fitting label. He's not just a mortal in power, he's a mini Chaos God. Kitana, Melina, and Jade, they all survive. These Edenian princesses, Joss assassins are as deadly as they come. Kitana is a 10,000 plus year old warrior queen, Jade is her ninja bodyguard and secret agent, Mileena is her twisted clone sister with Tarkatan teeth. In MK lore, they're highly trained with mastery of magical steel fans and grotesque ferocity. They've assassinated emperors and led armies. In the 40K universe, they'd likely fit into the Dark Eldar Drukhari society. Picture them as high-rank witches or succubi in Komara's gladiatorial arenas. Witches are the Drukhari gladiators who live for bloodletting and showmanship, and succubi are their queens. Drukhari society literally thrives upon expert displays of bloodletting, and the Witches are talented Eldari indeed. Kitana and Jade's acrobatic fan fighting would make them star attraction in these torture sports arenas, feeding on screams. They have the centuries of combat experience to survive anything in the webway. The Imperium would cower them as witch slaves or kill them as Xenos if captured, but given their skills, they would far more likely align themselves with Chaos or Drukhari out of self-preservation. As long as someone in the galaxy values elite female assassins, these three live on. They won't thrive happily, it's always nightmare dark out there, but they survive by adapting. In short, these three would last out the campaign, probably as high-tier Drukhari witches or succubi kings. D'Vorah, who thrives. D'Vorah is the insectoid chitin queen from Mortal Kombat, effectively the last of a hive queen race. She serves killers like Kotal Khan and Shao Kahn to protect her hive. In the MK lore, she's colonial insects that bond together to form humanoid bodies and will do anything to preserve her species. Think of her as hive mind premium. In Warhammer 40K terms, D'Vorah is basically a Tyranid specialist. The Tyranids are the ultimate hive mind aliens. Her whole nature is about parasitism and consumption. With her stealth and plague throwing, she'd slot into a hive fleet as a specialized lictor type, a psychic covert ops bug. Tyranids use lictors to infiltrate and assimilate world defenses from within, and D'Vorah's talents, poisons, swarms, telepathy, fit that role perfectly. But either way, D'Vorah finds her calling. She could literally join a Tyranid hive fleet, like Hive Fleet Leviathan or something codename Hive Fleet Vadovia, to help consume planets from the inside out. The Imperium's biodoctors might label her as a Xenos heterocorpse to study, but she'd break free. In her element of interstellar insect war, D'Vorah would thrive as a living plague. Even if caught by the Imperium, the only question would be which branching painful death is most merciful. Raiden is next up and goes and dominates. Raiden is the long-serving thunder god and protector of Earthrealm. He's one of Mortal Kombat's most powerful beings, literally a sky god who controls storms and lightning. In MK11, he even became an elder god, overlord of realms. He can fly, teleport instantly, and launch cascading lightning strikes that can electrocute a whole battlefield. If you drop Raiden into 40,000, he'd be like an imperial living saint taken to the nth degree, or possibly a demon prince. The Imperium reveres lightning god emblems. Aquila is wings, but imperial saints with storm-like powers do exist. A god of thunder could easily become a beacon of faith. Some crazy commissar might declare a bizarre new saint, or the ecclesiarchy might co-opt his miracles of storm energy as proof of the emperor's might. In any case, Raiden's power is massive. MK lore says he can summon massive thunderstorms and channel electricity through his limbs to strengthen his strikes. Basically, he can warp storm entire cities. He's too big for frontline grunt duties. He'd outright boss them around. Raiden thrives so much he borders on unkillable. The Imperium might try to hunt him as a demonic presence, especially if he forms a pillar of flame in orbit. Or the Necrons might caution, don't mess with that deity. But if he wanted, he could just casually turn the galaxy's weather into a perpetual global storm to hide humans from enemy eyes. So Raiden joins the Dominates tier. He's either Emperor's chosen pet or Kane's storm avatar, but either way, he reshapes reality with lightning. Jax and Sonya would both hate it. Jax Briggs and Sonya Blade are Earthrealm's Special Forces power couple. He's a cybernetic super soldier, she's a military commando. Jax is a technological master sergeant with bionic arms. Sonya is a decorated major in the Anti-Outworld Task Force. In MK lore, Jax uses the most advanced technology to improve himself, and Sonya debuted as a Special Forces officer. In Warhammer 40K, they'd certainly last a few battles, their cybernetics fit right in with the Mechanicus aesthetic, but ultimately they'd loathe it. Both are very human in attitude, fiercely patriotic and idealistic. The Imperium is a dystopian nightmare of mistrust. They'd constantly clash with rigid bureaucracy and paranoia about psychic influence. Jax might appreciate that the Adeptus Mechanicus loves built warriors, but even with his high-tech arms, he'd be a skirmisher at best. Sonya would especially loathe the Inquisition's inquisitorial cross-examination and the Imperium's thousand-year wars. They might make it out of the first chapter alive, but mentally they'd crumble. They would drop more F-bombs than an orc in a theology seminar. Bottom line, Jax and Sonya survive. They're too skilled to instantly die, but they would hate it with a capital H. Sector and Cyrax. I'm putting them both in survive tier. The Lin Kuei's cyber ninjas. Sector is a fanatically loyal cyborg ninja killing machine. Cyrax is a repentant cybernetic assassin. Both are literally machines wrapped around human brains. In a galaxy of cyborgs and machines, they'd fit right in. In fact, they'd be prime candidates for the Adeptus Mechanicus. The tech priests would see them as already perfected flesh machines. They might draft them into the Cult Mechanicum or even the Skitarii. Warhammer lore on Skitarii. The Skitarii are the bionic heart of the Adeptus Mechanicus infantry legions, essentially people who have replaced their flesh with omniscient steel. Sector and Cyrax already are that. Sector and Cyrax would likely volunteer or be forcibly inducted into this. They could become Skitarii Alphas or even Cybernetica units, the robot armies, given their background. They're already fully comfortable being mechanical. The Mechanicus would love them. This means they survive. They might lose a bit of autonomy. Sector already hates free will, but at least they live on as part of the Imperium's war machine. Plus, they won't cry about it. They exist for orders and combat. They'll get the upgrade they secretly wanted and never asked for. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, who I'd put in Thrives tier. Two evil sorcerers who literally consume souls. Shang Tsung is the quintessential soul-stealing wizard. Quan Chi is the Netherrealm's master necromancer. In MK lore, Shang Tsung needs to consume souls in order to sustain his health and life, and is among the most powerful dark sorcerers. Quan Chi is the most powerful sorcerer and necromancer of the Netherrealm, combining devilish cunning with magic. In the 40,000 universe, these two would be unstoppable supernatural maniacs. Shang Tsung could join Magnus the Red's Thousand Sons Legion or the Dark Cabal of Tzeentch, siphoning souls from warp prisoners like their incubus candy. He's exactly the type of subversive sorcerer who prowls the Maelstrom or the Eye of Terror, grabbing wild psychic energy. If not Tzeentch's favored child, he might run a pirate's lair, harvesting energy crystals from dead planets, since souls in 40,000 equals bioessence to power a planet. Quan Chi, as a necromancer, would fit right into Chaos Undivided, or even Cornete Cult as the Quiet Brain. He'd probably cultivate an undead Space Marine legion of revenants. He's literally been doing that with SubZero. Imagine Quan Chi slaving Death Guard Space Marines to his will on Nurgle worlds. Horrifying. Both have lived for centuries scheming, and Warhammer punishes no time. Their ambition to conquer reality fits chaotic and necromantic emperors' domains. These guys would carve out kingdoms of the dead. They thrive on chaos. One could be a Dark Elder Archon using souls as currency, the other a Khorne warband sorcerer or a whole cult forming to resurrect dead champions. Liu Kang is again another easy dominates tier character, the former Shaolin monk turned God of Fire and Keeper of Time. In the current MK lore, Liu Kang has ascended to godhood, now an immortal champion and eternal god of fire. He literally holds the fire of creation, and in MK11 he demonstrated the ability to create entirely new eras. In Warhammer 40K, Liu Kang is on par with the most godlike beings. He'd essentially become an independent god of order in the warp, probably opposing chaos purely out of his duty to protect human souls. Warhammer lore does hint at gods of order versus gods of chaos, but none explicitly. Liu Kang would fill that role, a beneficent titan. The Imperium would be ecstatic. He could be the Emperor's left fist, or a new immortal saint. He could shield worlds with his fire, subdue demons with his will, and rewrite destinies just like the Emperor's golden philosopher. He outlasts everything. Even the Necrons, who turned themselves into metal to cheat death, would bow at his feet because he's literally immortal and cosmic. Liu Kang's powers are titanic. He's literally the creator of new ages now. If he chose, he could rematerialize planets or cleanse the warp entirely. In short, dominates. He already dominates timelines in MK canon. In 40,000, he becomes a mythic figure of salvation and absolute war ender. And that's the end of the list. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in a list next up. I love reading and seeing what your opinions are regarding these tier lists.